I'm going to say one thing. Fuck Trump.
Are they great, or do we need to make them great again and kind of go one by one here?
Oh, he's terrible. He's
great or great again, Jimmy Kimmel?
Well, he's not. No, he's not. First of all, they all have bad ratings. The one that's the most successful is Greg.
Who?
Greg Gutfeld. So Jimmy Kimmel, we got to make him great again?
Well, Jimmy Kimmel's a loser. Look, all they do is talk bad about Trump. That's all. The whole show is talking bad about Trump.
Understand why people are not taking him seriously, because you read about it historically in other countries that they didn't take the people around said, what, we told you so, or whoever, I told you so. It's going to happen. If he gets elected, it's going to change this country for everybody.
Robert De Niro.
We have a protest of Robert De Niro yesterday. He's a fool. He's a broken down fool standing out there. He got maggot.
Robert De Niro and Jimmy Kimmel just went completely savage mode on Donald and Melania Trump live on television. De Niro was dropping bombs of truth like he was back in Goodfellas, and Kimmel, he was roasting Trump like it was Thanksgiving dinner. And Melania? Well, let's just say she was likely thinking about her escape plan in real time. But what did they say that had the audience gasping? Did Trump rage tweet in all caps? And has Melania finally had enough? Let's get into it.
He's so stupid.
Trump believed the media were being harsh on him. He had no clue what was headed his way. When Robert De Niro and Jimmy Kimmel tag-teamed him, it was like a championship boxing match. Except this time, the only thing getting knocked out was Trump's ego. This wasn't just a roast. This was a Hollywood-grade takedown, executed with the comedic precision of a Scorsese-directed hit job. Kimmel, always looking to turn up the heat, knew this roast needed an A-list enforcer.
Our allies around the world. Yesterday he did Ireland. He's going alphabetically. It's screw you, Australia, Britain, Canada, Denmark, France, Germany. Skipped the H, went right to Ireland. And you're next, Japan. Oh, he did Japan already? Well, then look out, Korea. You're the one that's next. Today, Trump threatened to put a 200% tariff on alcohol imported from Europe. That includes wine, spirits, and beer from Europe. And that is particularly unfair. He's making it very expensive to get drunk. He's the reason we need to get drunk.
I'm not hysterical. I laugh when people say, oh, you've got Trump derangement syndrome. Yeah. If you're a reasonable person, you should have Trump derangement syndrome.
Enter De Niro. The crowd erupted the second he walked out, because when the guy who spent a lifetime playing mobsters steps up to the mic, you know someone's about to get metaphorically whacked. And De Niro? He didn't show up to pull punches. He showed up to give Trump the verbal pummeling of a lifetime, pent-up frustration years in the making. Tough guy? De Niro snorted. This is the same dude who needs two hands to have a glass of water.
He's a scary
The crowd lost
and,
it.
and in all seriousness, and we know it here, people have to get out and vote and vote and vote and vote.
Yeah. One Chinese. Do you think he pretends to be dumber than he is to confuse people and make them think? No, you think he's...
No, I don't think so.
And just when you'd thought the pummeling was done, Kimmel crept in like an evening assassin. But then came what he said next. Even Trump's most devout fans weren't prepared for it. Imagine this: Trump seething in his gilded throne room, frantically tapping on his phone, his little thumbs pounding away at an all-caps tantrum. Get me a way to block De Niro on Truth Social. Kimmel deadpanned, and the audience cheered once more.
He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face.
And just the air was electric. It was like Hollywood's toughest guy, De Niro, had spent his entire life waiting for this moment to verbally annihilate Trump with the precision of an old-school hitman. But this wasn't just some celeb tirade. This was decades of repressed ire, bursting like a shaken-up can of soda.
He was in court all day Monday. He was all day yesterday. Today he had a day off. And how did he spend that? Brunch with Melania? No. Maybe a catch with Barron in the yard? No. Santa Claus got up bright and early to post 165 venomous words about yours truly.
And the internet? Oh, it just blew up. Trump folks scrambled for a retort. But the best they could come up with was, meet the Fockers was so-so. Catastrophic. Meanwhile, at Mar-a-Lago, Trump was likely pacing furiously, thumbs clacking away as if attempting to break into a hidden level on Angry Birds. His staff, sitting agog as he typed furiously an all-caps rant, one that sounded like a malfunctioning AI attempting to roast someone. And let's be honest, no reporter, no comedian on late-night TV, no politician had ever scored a punch this solid. This was De Niro going full raging bull on a man who made his fortune off gold-plated everything. A cinematic classic. Except the screenplay was real life. And the bad guy? He wasn't a character. He was scrolling through Twitter, seething. For a man who takes pride in always getting the last word in, the silence was extraordinary. Was he actually speechless? The world waited with bated breath, half expecting a Twitter @X meltdown. And then, like clockwork, boom.
And again, this is a lunar eclipse, it's not a solar eclipse, so there's no chance that anyone, including our president, will inadvertently blind himself again. Wow, you know, I was thinking today, what a dumb guy we picked for president. You know how he...
His thumbs landed squarely, and a cyber tantrum ensued. We D Niro equal washed up nobody. Kimmel equals loser. The roast equals rigged. But then, he upped the ante. Trump was now also a movie critic. Raging Bull, Casino, and The Irishman were all worse than terrible. And that was according to him. From the dude whose largest film credit was Home Alone 2. The internet freaked out. Side-by-side comparisons of De Niro's Academy Award-winning performances and Trump's 7-second walk-on flooded social media. And just when folks thought the drama was dying down, it escalated. Another Hollywood affair, a crowded room, a fired-up De Niro, and the gloves? They came off. Again. The round of brutal punches. If Trump had any chance of this feud fading, he was out of luck. Beneath the blinding studio lights, Kimmel was living his best life ever. His program had become a roast session that was hotter than a 4th of July grill. And who was the guest of honor? Donald J. Trump. Kimmel spent an entire monologue on Trump's doomsday meltdown, serving up a masterclass in comedic roasts. But he wasn't finished yet. To crank up the entertainment, he dragged in a bona fide film critic to contrast the legendary Robert De Niro's cinematic greatness with Trump's, well, let's just say, his on-screen moments, which mostly consisted of him barking orders at C-list celebrities. One of these men has an Academy Award, Kimmel smirked. The other dramatically booted Meatloaf off a reality show. Boom! The crowd erupted like they just received notice their student loans were paid in full. The sheer absurdity of it all had them rolled over in hysterics, as Kimmel rolled the one-liners out like a slot machine in Vegas. This was more than a roast. This was a hilarious pounding for the record books. And Trump's collapse? It supplied late-night television with material that would last for weeks to eat. While it was going on somewhere in Mar-a-Lago, someone was furiously rage-tweeting into the ether, most likely looking for the caps lock button in tears. Initially, it was just another celeb swipe, the kind that lands on the cover of one day's edition and is forgotten.
You and I have something in common. We have both been immortalized on social media by our former president, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
We have, I think this might have been the first time he wrote about you. Robert De Niro, a very low IQ individual, has received he spelled two wrong, many shots to the head by real boxers in movies. I watched him last night, truly believe he may be punch drunk, and then he says, at the end, he says, wake up punchy, he said.
But this is Hollywood, and in Hollywood, sequels are our life. While you could still say Meltdown, A-listers were jumping on like a red carpet after party. Stephen Colbert devoted an entire segment to what he termed a masterclass in public freakouts, with slow-motion replays included. Seth Meyers, always ready to not let a good joke go to waste, acted out Trump's Truth Social tirade as if auditioning for the Royal Shakespeare Company. Dramatic pauses, gasping for breath, tragic looks off into space. It was Shakespearean comedy at its best. But oh, it didn't end there. Because then, the musicians caught wind of blood. The internet went nuclear. It wasn't long before the opportunists jumped on it. In hours, some DJ with way too much free time had turned De Niro's rant into a dance club hit. auto-tuned indignation and all, complete with a bass drop so epic that it can probably shake Mar-a-Lago. By dawn, TikTok was filled with remixes, one of which, a gospel choir singing Sad Little Man like it was a praise song. It was an overnight sensation. And then, Broadway smelled blood. Rumors began circulating that Lin-Manuel Miranda was already working on Trump, the musical, featuring a wig-clad puppet and a chorus of former lawyers singing backup. Because in Hollywood, every meltdown is an opportunity.
Remember the Academy Awards? I said how he's the worst host in the history of the Academy Awards, and this stupid guy goes up, and just before the Best Picture of the Year, the show is almost over. They're waiting for the Best Picture of the Year. He gets up and he says, and his wife said, please don't do it. Please, darling, don't go out. His manager said, don't do it. I have to do it. He goes out and reads my truth to the entire audience right before the prime time, the Best Picture. And it said basically, he is the worst host in the history. He reads the whole thing. And then I think he said something like, ha, 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 he thinks he bothers me or some crap like that. I said, he's one of the dumbest human beings ever. He should have